All right, everybody, we are back with another movie review. Today is Friday, and another movie is out into theaters because this is the way. Hi, everybody. I'm Awesome Joe. Thank you guys so much for taking the time of your day to watching another episode of Awesome Joe's Movie Reviews. And today we're going to go ahead and be talking about the new released film out in theaters right now, Star Wars, The Mandalorian, and Grogu. Now, this series, this set of characters, this story started back in 2019 when Disney Plus first debuted, and it was one of the first things that I had watched and was very excited for once it debuted. And when it did, people, including myself, fell in love with the story, fell in love with the characters. The first season was a massive success. And not only that, I find that the second season was even better. Now, I have a friend of mine who's actually watching the entire Star Wars story for the very first time, and right now he is on the Mandalorian series. So, but I did advise him watch only season 1 and watch only season 2. After that, get back with me, and I'll let you know what to watch next. And for all you Star Wars fans out there who know what that means, you'd understand what I'm trying to talk about here. So. But other than that, we had season 3 out as well too. We had the Book of Boba Fett. We've had Ahsoka. We've had, a lot of people are not very fond of this, but we also have the Acolyte. So many different Star Wars shows out on Disney Plus right now that has been available to us throughout the years. And you have Andor as well too. And I'm actually right now watching The Skeleton Crew for the second time. So it's great getting to watching Star Wars, even though it's not as great as it used to be, but it's still wildly fun in a Disney perspective. So, I understand Star Wars has gotten more kid friendly. A lot of people are not very fond of the sequel trilogy. I was okay with Solo and Rogue One. But here we are with The Mandalorian and Grogu. This is the first Star Wars film coming into theaters after 7 years since the Rise of Skywalker, which of course I know everybody is not fond of that movie. If you ask me, I think The Last Jedi was the most terrible Star Wars movie I've ever watched on screen. That movie literally made me upset. Not as upset as Rise of Skywalker. I think I was a little bit more entertained with that film than I did with The Last Jedi. So, but anyways, we're not here to talk about the sequel trilogy. We're here to talk about The Mandalorian and Grogu. If you ask me, I think that the story should have just come to an end at the ending of season 2. I don't think that we needed to go any further than that. I thought it was a brilliant and perfect ending for these two characters. For them to go within their separate ways, but they decided to bring them back together, and here we are with them on these adventures that we get to join along with them with, coming back for season 3, and now here we are in this movie. So if anybody is expecting for this movie to be this massive film, which what mostly movies actually are when they're based off of a TV show. When a TV show, it's just, it's this episodic adventures, situations that are happening within its own persona. And then when they are just as successful, they are brought onto the theater screen. However, when they go on the theater screen, they have to have a bigger story. They have to have the very meaning of it being called a movie, away from what it originally was, which is a TV show. So, and then when it comes to this movie, to be honest, there really is no reason at all whatsoever why this should be a movie. It very much feels like it could have been the 4th season for The Mandalorian. Nothing massive happens. Nothing huge out of the ordinary comes into play. Nothing that changes the world of Star Wars. From what I heard, they had plans on how they were going to be bringing in the Star Wars TV shows onto the big screen. Something to do with Grand Admiral Thrawn and bringing in everybody like the Mandalorian and Grogu with Ahsoka and Andor and Boba Fett and even Obi-Wan Kenobi. How is that going to happen? I have no idea, but apparently all of them were going to come together like in Avengers style against this great threat, which is Admiral Thrawn. And all of this is coming off of the creative minds of both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, which of course they've done stuff like Star Wars, The Clone Wars, and everything Disney related. They do a lot of these things. They even did some work on what do you call it? Star Wars Rebels. Just so many things that they've been doing within the world of Star Wars. Some have been successful, some have not. But I do appreciate and admire their vision, but a lot of their stuff has been animated, and some of that animation has been brought onto this film, and it kind of throws me off because I don't really know these characters since I don't watch any of those animation series. But for me, I know it would probably be my fault because, in which cases, it's kind of like what people are upset with Marvel right now is they're upset that they have to go watch a movie, but in order to understand it, they have to do the homework, which is watching all of these series that they have on their streaming services. Something like this, I don't want to do. I really don't want to do. I don't want to be watching the entire Star Wars Clone Wars series, Rebels, Resistance, or the Tales of the Jedi or whatnot. I don't want to be watching all of that for me to get a clearer understanding. I don't want to be reading all of the books. I just know what I know. Mandalorian within its story. You got season 1, season 2, season 3, the Book of Boba Fett, so on and so forth. And that's all. I don't need to be doing anything more. But they do bring a lot of stuff into this that really makes me think, do I understand this, where it's coming from? Do I know where this is leading itself towards? Absolutely not. I'm always under the assumption that, because we're actually, what the Mandalorian is doing now, he works with the Resistance, or actually the New Republic, that is trying to make sure that the Empire doesn't come to rise again. And I'm like thinking, okay, is it leading to the New Order coming to rise? Are we even involving? Is it canon anymore for the sequel trilogy to take place? Since that is a story that is after the Mandalorian story, I have no idea. I don't know where it is taking itself towards. So it it puts me in a very difficult position while trying to keep myself entertained by watching this movie. Jon Favreau is directing this, and we all know him as the dude that directed The Lion King 2019, The Jungle Book 2016, the first Iron Man movie, and Iron Man 2. I think that he does do a lot of wonderful work. I love his writing of The Mandalorian and his story. Pedro Pascal returns very briefly. As you all know by the trailer, he does get his helmet taken off. I didn't think that was a good idea, but I understand. It kind of takes away the whole persona of what season 3 was all about. But they do have an excuse as to why and how that can be resolved, and I get it, but at the same time, I found that was very meaningless. The removal of the helmet and then, him reclaiming it back, it just didn't make any sense to me. Pascal, he's done a lot of work, especially last year with like Fantastic Four, The Materialists, Last of Us Season 2, which I'm actually watching right now on HBO Max. I liked him a lot in Wonder Woman 84. He was great in that movie. But yeah, I understand that the majority of the time it's not really Pedro underneath that helmet. It's probably the stunt coordinator that's doing all of the performances and all of the work that a lot of Pascal takes credit for. You have also Sigourney Weaver popping into this, which I think was great, getting to seeing her, knowing that she was going to be there playing Colonel Ward. She's kind of what Carl Weathers' character was at the beginning, rest in peace. Giving away all of these bounty hunter assignments, giving us the action and adventure that our hero embarks throughout the franchise. Sigourney Weaver, of course, we know is in a lot of other different franchises, like the Alien movies, which I actually recently saw for the first time. The first 4 movies, where I thought, well, at least 3 out of the 4 were fantastic. The Avatar movies, Ghostbuster, Galaxy Quest, Heartbreakers. You know, she's a legend in the world of cinema. So it's great getting to see her now being a part of the Star Wars universe, or the Star Wars galaxy, if you want to be more specific. Rada the Hutt, played by Jeremy Allen White. Don't know who he is, but he's in a lot of other things like The Bear, Springsteen, Shameless, Iron Claw, and Movie 43. And I think that Rada the Hutt, when it comes to the Hutts in this movie, it's kind of difficult to have them be very believable, since the majority of them are all just CGI now. Unlike Jabba the Hutt back in the Return of the Jedi days, that was $1 million put together, and 7 different puppeteers just having to do the animatronics off of that puppet that they had made that was extremely expensive. So I really understand as to why they would do CGI, but I know that they could do better than that, and what they put together for this movie. Because you do get the twin Hutts that come back into this, that we know from the Book of Boba Fett, if you've watched that series on Disney Plus, knowing that they were coming to their return into this, and giving our hero, the Mandalorian, the assignment that he needs to go out and do throughout this movie. One of the things that I did not enjoy about when it comes to Mandalorian is, I understand he's a bounty hunter, but practically every single episode has to deal with him being assigned to something, but needing to doing something else in order to, gain accomplishments towards that assignment. So it always put me in a very, very uncomfortable position of, getting to accept that this is what we're encountering each an individual episode. So in here, it's kind of like the same thing. You can tell the differences between which would be an episode of what episode next. Maybe episode 1 and episode 2. It just keeps on going at itself. Jumping from one situation to another. Knowing that if this was an episodic season put on Disney Plus rather than on the big screen, you can honestly tell the differences. You do have Martin Scorsese voicing into this as a character called Hugo Durant, which is very, very minimized of his character very briefly into the movie. If you are unaware of his work, he is a director to many successful Academy Award-winning films like Taxi Driver, Wolf of Wall Street, Gangs of New York, etc. So it was great getting to see him in this, because he is actually a man who was totally against these kind of franchises. So it was great getting to see him being a part of this. And Lord Janu, which is played by Johnny Kane, Koine. He looks so familiar, and I know I've seen him from somewhere else, but I don't recognize him in any of these other different projects that he has been in, like in Toxic Avenger, Dark Corners, Blacklist, Once Upon a Time, and Hangover 3. Maybe Hangover 3 is where I've seen him from, but I'm not quite sure. He's only in it very briefly as well, too. He seems as though to be the villain of the film, but unfortunately he's only in it within a portion of the movie. But I feel like they really got these low-key actors being put into this just to stay within the budget of the film, because I think it was $150 million. Oh wait, I'm sorry, $150,000 budget that they put into this thing. So it was very cheap. If I got that correct, I think I might be wrong on that. No, 150 million. My correction. 150 million. Another character of Dave Filoni's, which is from the Clone Wars bounty hunter named Imbu. He looks familiar, but I don't really recognize him. As well as, like I said, the Twin Hutts, and then you also got Zeb Aurelios, which is a co-pilot to Din Djarin, which was in the Star Wars Rebels. Don't recognize him either. I know he was in season 3 of Mandalorian, but I mean, for me, I'm just like, I don't know who you are, man, and seeing you in this doesn't really build up any excitement, and plus the fact the CGI on him wasn't that good as well either. I did enjoy watching Babu Freak come back. I mean, one of the things from the sequel trilogy that is in this, he is an Anzelian droid smith, and did some work on season 3 with the IAG-11 droid, so it was great getting to see him along with a few others back into this. The performances, the animatronics on these are completely unreal. I mean, it's hard to really accept that these are living beings, that they're all, engineered by puppeteers. So as well as everybody keeps calling him Baby Yoda, but I'm like, no, it's Grogu. They didn't name the movie The Mandalorian and Baby Yoda. It's Baby Grogu. It's not called the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda. It's called the Mandalorian and Grogu. So, so it's really hard. It's quite a mouthful. But yeah, I really do love one of the things about this movie when it comes to Grogu. I mean, he's just the cutest. I mean, he's amazing in all of these the shows and the movie itself. And one of the questions that a lot of people ask is he ever going to grow up? Are we ever going to hear him speak, or if he's going to, start growing? Is he always going to be a baby? Well, I mean, he's one of the species that Yoda was, which lasts a good 900 years. So, and he's only 50 years old, so he's got a long ways to go. So, and I think that they're afraid to show any adaptations to his character. Since for me, on the other hand, it was really hard for me to accept, for example, in Marvel, Baby Groot, who is only in Guardians Volume 2, and after that, he's already Teenage Groot and Big Buff Groot. So in which cases, that performance for me was really memorable, and I wish I would have gotten to see more of that. But we don't. So when it comes to this, even though I would love to see Grogu start growing up and start hearing him speak, it's hard to change what we all know through him being just a baby, learning the ways of the Force and the Mandalorian ways in the galaxy far away. So I think evidently throughout time they might explore that, but as of now, it doesn't seem like they're going to go anywhere forward with that. So I enjoyed the movie. It's not really the best Star Wars movie, nor is it the worst. I think that it is better than The Last Jedi. I think it is better than The Mandalorian Season 3. But I think that they could have done better. I think that they could have had a better story, something that can, do a lot of world building, building itself into something more massive. But not really anything happens in this movie. Like I said, I thought it was great. While I was watching the movie, I really did feel like, I wasn't even watching it in the theater. I felt like I was in the movie. While watching it. So it was really great. I love the beginning of how the movie goes. You got a lot of action scenes that happen throughout this. Like I said, the movie feels very episodic. Everything just put into one film, just skipping the whole chapter persona that how they used in the series. It feels very episodic, one thing after another. And but I did have some fun with this. Would I go and watch it again in theaters? I don't think so. I might watch it again once it's released on Disney Plus. But for me, I think that when it comes to The Mandalorian and Grogu, I'm gonna go ahead and say that this movie for me is at a 63%. It's not high, nor is it bad, but I think that they could have done more work on it. I like I said, I'm excited to seeing it again on Disney Plus, but I don't think that I would go out of my way to watching it again in theaters. I did watch Mortal Kombat 2 3 times. I did watch Obsession 2 times because I think that those two movies were very entertaining and very fun to watch. This one, however, for me, I don't think it was boring, but I thought it was a really great fun time. But like I said, I just probably won't go and watch it again. But I do highly advise for all of you guys who are just normal Star Wars fans, if you love The Mandalorian, I think that you're going to enjoy this movie. But if you're a hardcore Star Wars fan, like back in the day, like original trilogy, then you're going to have a problem. I don't think that you should go and watch this. It's probably going to upset you. There's a lot of mixed audiences out there right now determining whether or not this is a good Star Wars flick or not. So it's really up to you guys. For me, I think that it was good enough to being at least a 63%. We do have Star Wars Starfighter coming out next year with Ryan Gosling, so we'll see what that's all about. I hope that they don't delay that or cancel it like all the other projects that Star Wars has been working on throughout the years. I just think that the people behind the Lucasfilm really need to up their game and start doing something when it comes to this Star Wars franchise, because they're not doing too well right now, and I really do think that they need to get some creative material put onto give us audiences and fans something to watch, because it's, you know, it's they're in a tough pickle right now. So we got to see what they come up with next. You know, I think that they just made this up and said, hey, you know what, The Mandalorian is pretty much all that we have that's successful right now to our viewers. So let's go ahead and make them a movie here. So, but yeah, I think that it could have been just more of a season 4. It's very hard to. I think that if Mandalorian started off as a movie first and then a series, maybe that would have worked. But I think that when you watch this, you're much more acceptable to the fact that it just works more as a series than it does a movie. So yeah, everybody, that's my take, my review on The Mandalorian Grogu. What did you guys think? Have y'all watched it just yet? I do recommend you guys going out and watching it for those of you who are fans of The Mandalorian in general. But Star Wars, I don't think so. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section in the bottom. Let's have an awesome time talking about this movie or any movies that you like to talk about in general, because I love to talk about movies, but most importantly, I love to talk about them with you. And don't forget that you can check out some more of my videos on YouTube. Just look me up at Awesome Joe Movie Reviews. Don't forget to click on that like and subscribe button there, you guys. I really do appreciate everybody's support on my channel. And as well, click on that notification bell for future videos being posted. You will be the first ones to know. So anyways, everybody, I'm Awesome Joe. Keep on living the dream. And as always, stay awesome. Thanks you guys once more again. And to my beautiful daughter, I love you, sweetheart. Daddy misses you, and Daddy cannot wait to see you again one day, my love. And to everybody else, I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.